Hello friends! Today I thought I'd give you a little tour of my virtual tone wheel organ, which is based on the famous Hammond organs of old and of current status too. I have two versions of this virtual organ that I created from scratch. There's the light version, which is free on my website, and there's also a full version, which I'll be using to demonstrate here today. And I'm really proud of this virtual organ. I was looking around about a year or two ago for virtual Hammond organs that I could use in different things, and none of them really pleased me. I'm like, oh, why don't any of them sound like a real Hammond organ? They're always like little fake sounding. I mean, sure, I was only getting the free ones, but it was disappointing. And I have access to a real Hammond organ. My father owns one, and so I knew what they actually sounded like. And so what I decided to do is make my own virtual organ based on that. And there's a lot of intricacies that go into the Hammond organ here. And the first thing that I had to do was copy the sound. I mean, it is based on a sine wave here, but as you can see, I actually don't have any samples in this sound file except for a few, which I'll explain what those are in a second. But to get the tone, what I did is I started with a sine wave, and then I just kind of layered a couple other things on top of that to give it that little high whine of the tone wheels going around. So if you hear you can hear them really good on the low note here. You can hear those higher frequencies in addition to the lower frequencies. And that's the basis of my Hammond organ. Tone wheel organ if I don't want to be sued. HamOrg if I want to refer to my virtual organ as itself. So when I decided to go out and build this, I knew that I wanted to have the key switches. Now, virtual instruments tend to have key switches, but the Hammond organ was the perfect thing to put key switches on because the actual instrument has key switches built right in. And it's right at the lower end of the manual. And when I knew I had to implement these key switches, I knew I had to also implement something that was a staple of whenever you'd be changing key switches on the Hammond organ, and that is the sound. And you can there's an attack and there's a release, and that is my favorite part of this whole virtual instrument is the key switches. And I believe I also pan them slightly to the left so it sounds like you're actually hitting the key switches on the real instrument. So that's fun. So let me give you a little taste of the sounds here. We got the stop flute, of course. These are all presets, by the way. These are presets that are based on the actual presets of a Hammond organ. Someone was nice enough to actually upload the formulas for these presets. So basically, I just kind of use those as the basis for my virtual instrument. So if you are familiar with a Hammond organ and its presets, you'll recognize a lot of these sounds. So the next one is the Dulcina, which I think I'm pronouncing that right. My father might come down on me if he sees this video. It's like, no, you're pronouncing that wrong. So slightly different, a little bit more of a sharper sound than the sound here. Okay, next one is the French horn. I can pronounce that. You can hear those higher frequencies. Not even going to try to pronounce that one. Now I should mention that the Hammond organ was originally intended to be a based on a pipe organ. So you'll see that a lot of the presets here are based on pipe organ stops. Of course, later on it was the Hammond was adopted by jazz, blues, soul, and so they created their own sound from that. But the actual presets or stops of the Hammond organ were actually based on pipe organ stops. So when it says French horn, it's not literally trying to emulate the exact sound of a French horn like some modern synthesizers do. It's just that basic sound, and if you listen to a pipe organ, that's kind of the same idea. So next sound is the flutes. oboe. Sounds like an oboe. Diapason. Trumpet. Full swell. Oh, I almost forgot. If you decide to download this sound font, I put it in a little read me before anything else file, but because of the way I built this organ, you need to make sure that the poly is at the highest it can go. Otherwise, you're not going to get all the sounds there when it gets to the denser presets. So, Swell. Let me talk about that really quick. Swell. There's two manuals on a Hammond organ. There's the Great and there's the Swell. The Swell is the top one, the Great is the lower one. And of course, you also have the pedals. I did not implement pedals into my virtual Hammond organ, mostly because, well, I was lazy. Maybe if there's a HamOrg version 2, then I might implement the pedals. So this is the Swell. I actually have two SFZ files for the Great and the Swell. And on the Swell, what's unique to the Swell is that it has the percussion sounds, which we'll get to later. So the next one is the next one is actually Drawbars. This is the Hammond organ. The whole heart and soul of the Hammond organ is its drawbars. And what they do is that they're different harmonics, different frequencies, and you build those up to create the sounds. In fact, the presets down here are built from those same exact harmonic drawbars. And so we have the drawbars here in my virtual tone wheel drawbar organ. And again, the GUI is non-existent, but it's functional. So let's show you here. We got drawbar 1. Also, let me introduce you to the swell pedal, or the swell pedal. Right now I'm controlling it. Excuse me. Right now I'm controlling it with the mod wheel of my keyboard here, and you can still control it here manual if you need to. The drawbars, because I'm putting them at full, it's going to get really loud very quickly. So I'm just going to make sure it's a little lower here. Just the first harmonic. Add the second one. Third, fourth, fifth, so on. So those are all the drawbars, and you can actually mix and match them however you want. Let's do a little weird preset here, just something random. So if you want, there are Hammond organ websites out there that'll give you some suggestions as to what some good combinations are. And I have a drawbar key in the README file of the instrument if you download it, and you can actually see the formula to translate the on a Hammond organ the drawbars are labeled, or not labeled. They're configured so that it goes from 1 to 8, and here we have percentages, which is not 1 to 8. So I have the translations in the README file. So no drawbars open, no sound comes out. And what's great also, because of I built this based on the real Hammond organ. I knew that if the drawbars were there, let's put something really weird so you can hear the difference. So You can go down here to the other presets, say to the flutes. You can still go back to that same drawbar preset. All right. Technically, you should also have a an alternate preset option here as well, but I thought that the this was cluttered up too much already, and so I just put one here so that you could see what the heck you were doing. Otherwise, it was like 1,000 of these little square things, and your eyes get lost very quickly without a proper GUI. Maybe someday I'll implement a GUI. I really want to, but I think I might have to pay the company that built this this VST or AU plugin to in order to implement that GUI. So yeah, let's leave it at this preset here. Now, one of the other staples of a Hammond organ is the speaker, and Hammond organs were famous to be paired with, or were famous because of their pairing with Leslie speakers, and those are the rotary speakers that can rotate from slow to fast to still, and but the Hammond organ also had some built-in vibrato and chorus filters. I only have a very basic vibrato filter here, which is really sad sounding. But fear not, there are some fantastic rotary speaker simulators out there. My simulator of choice is M Vintage Rotary, and I got it when they were having a sale. I was already planning on buying it because I'm like, this sounds pretty darn good, and so it just sealed the deal when it went on sale. So I got a really good deal. So this is the this is where you want that. This is where you get that actual Hammond organ sound. And I have it set up on my keyboard so I can go to fast. So I didn't even bother to try building a Leslie simulator into my sound font, because there are plenty of other people who did it a lot better. That's that. Percussion. Let me talk about percussion briefly. So this isn't actual like percussion like drums and xylophones and things of that nature. No. Well, actually, it's sort of like xylophones, but let me get into this here. So percussion. On a Hammond organ, there's a percussion option where which is located up here in my sound font. I can access it really quickly on the keyboard like this. It's off by default. The first harmonic slow, and there's also fast on the the slow third harmonic. There's the slow for the second and the fast for the third. I said slow before. Anyway, you get the idea. So you probably want the third harmonic most of the time because that really gives you that sound. With the Leslie simulator. Now, a unique feature of this percussion sound is that on a real Hammond organ, if you tried to do chords or polyphony, more than one note, the percussion sound will only sound on the first note that you hit, and that is true for the real thing. So on my sound font, that is simulated right here in this sound font. So you gotta play it properly in order to get that sound. All right, so let's see if there's anything else here that I wanted to talk about on the HamOrg here. The Great manual, which is the lower manual again, it basically is the exact same thing as this, except it doesn't have the percussion because It's not located on the lower manual. And then it also has a different set of presets. Yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, speaking of the presets, if you're recording stuff in your DAW with this sound font, and you don't want to hear the sound of this clicking key switch, then you can actually turn that off. You can hit this right here, and you don't hear it anymore. You can also make it, softer. By default, it's at 100%, and the volume for the percussion as well, that can be adjusted. So let's I can adjust the volume. So that's absolutely soft. Make it louder. And if I take down all the drawbars here, I'm missing a drawbar. There's a drop. There it is. And it doesn't work on multiple notes. So you can kind of hear how it sounds like a xylophone, which is why I mentioned that before. Alright, so that is my virtual Hammond organ, HamOrg as I call it. And if you want to download it, it is on my website right now. The light version is completely free, and if you like that, you can get the full version. So, thank you for watching this demonstration. You can check out, I got plenty of other virtual instruments on my website as well, so check them out. I'll see you guys later.